What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. I just wanted to jump on real quick. I felt inspired to share an energy update. I haven't done one of these in a while, and there's a lot happening, as I'm sure you're feeling, as I'm sure you've no doubt heard. And just thought I'd share a few thoughts that were coming up into mind. And I do want to keep it kind of brief, so if you have any questions, I can totally go over it in more detail with you if you want to leave me a message. But yeah, the thing that's most dominant right now is this grand conjunction, right, of Jupiter and Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and what people are referring to as the dawn of the Age of Aquarius. And while it is pretty awesome, and the Star of Bethlehem, and how the legend has it that that's what the Star of Bethlehem was this convergence, this overlap of the planet Jupiter and Saturn, creating this bright, brilliant star in the sky. And what this signifies to me, especially in the timing of this year and everything that we're going through individually and collectively, I believe that that when you think about what is Jupiter and Saturn, what do they represent, and for my opinion, Saturn represents that kind of generalized that contraction energy. They call it the Lord of Karma, or just that overall contractionary energy. And then Jupiter for me is kind of the opposite. It's more of an expanding energy, so more expansive in nature. What is the potential beyond your current perception, and that's really where Jupiter takes us or encourages us to go, whether it's in thought, whether it's in communication, whether it's in perspectives. What's beyond the known, what's beyond your current limitations, and that's what Jupiter gifts us. And so when these two converge in such a powerful alignment that only occurs very seldomly in the course of history, and really this is the only time we'll see it in our lifetime happening at this point. The significance of that really illustrates or kind of underscores the energy that we've been feeling all year, and maybe all of the last few years. It's been building this contraction, this what's the word, like being held back. I don't know if that resonates with you, but feeling constricted, feeling constrained, literally, like the lockdowns, right, with everything that's going on in 2020. So being withheld from certain freedoms and liberties, whether that's traveling, whether that's being close to friends and loved ones, socializing, whether it's your place of business, income, any of that. We've seen a lot of contraction and a lot of constraints this year, and that can be viewed through the lens of Saturn's influence. And so, but one of the gifts of that contraction and constriction is when you're in that period where you're quarantined, so to speak. You go within. There's really, when you can go out less, it kind of forces us to go within and really take stock and make sure that we're plugging any leaks in our energetic buckets. Make sure that we're in alignment. It's this crossing the T's and dotting the I's situation, and really doubling down on and getting clear on what it is that we want to cultivate in our lives or create in our lives and share. And that being said, that's kind of where Jupiter comes in, this expansion from at least maybe just a conceptual standpoint or an idea that may be even birthed out of this constraint that you may be experiencing. Maybe you've had some inspiration on what you want to do when the constraints are lifted, or what you want to create when the moment feels right, or maybe you're working on that right now. And what a beautiful symbol of these two aligning in the sky right now, because it really does feel like we've kind of reached that spot, doesn't it? Like, we've been feeling constrained, but somewhere in the background we've been feeling the new approaching, whatever that means to you. What we want the new to look like, and so as these two align and merge, to me it just underscores how these two dance together. When you think about If you think about Saturn as like gravity or the weight, the heaviness, that heavy energy that, you know, weighs you down or grounds you, you know, in different ways. And then Jupiter is kind of this lifting, this uplifting energy, you know, almost like a rocket shooting into space. And what happens when those two are in perfect balance and harmony? It's almost like a levitation, you know, between that balance between the downward force, the downward pull, and that lifting energy. You know, if you were to imagine the 0 point convergence of those two forces, it creates this levitation and this balance, and so beautiful, isn't it? And so we can see this constriction and expansion dance play out in all areas of life. You know, whether it's you know, inhale and exhale, right, or the beat of the heart, in and out, in and out, in and out. Sustained growth for the long term, and you know, birth and death and rebirth. You know, all of these symbols and all of these expressions of the polarity of those energies. I'll let your imagination continue with that, but yeah, it's just something that I've really been pondering lately, and I'm curious, you know, as we harmonize these two polar energies, you know, what are we able to create? You know, when you do reach that level of levitation, you know, in whatever way it looks to you, and whatever that is that you've been dealing with, you know, the balance between constraint and expansion in your life. You know, what's it going to look like when you start to levitate in that area of your life? You know, and just let your imagination run wild and see where it leads you. See what is truly possible. And also another thought I wanted to share is we all kind of have a natural orientation to those energies. You know, one, you know, at least in certain seasons, one may tend to come easier than the others. You know, you may be more naturally hard on yourself, or feel you know, more sensitive to constraints, and so, you know, the energy of Saturn may be more present in your reality. And then on the flip side, you know, maybe Jupiter's more present in your reality. Maybe you feel that expansion energy, that kind of, you know, you always pushing the limits, or always trying to, you know, very creative, you know, freedom seeking, you know, traveling the world. You know, there's, you know, if that's more of your orientation, whatever it is, whatever your natural orientation is, I encourage you during this time to get curious about the opposite. You know, if you are more naturally expansive, you know, consider where you could use some constraint, or some double checking, or some second thoughts, you know, some structure. Really, that's what it is. You know, how can you create more structure and almost that scaffolding to ensure that what you are creating and what you are expanding is stabilized for the long term. And then on the flip side, if you are more Saturnian, and you maybe you're hard on yourself, or critical of yourself, or, you know, a perfectionist, if that's more of your natural orientation, in what ways could you expand? And, you know, what if you already were good enough? You know, what if you already knew enough? What if all of those perceived limitations were satisfied? What if you had all the degrees? What if you had all the wisdom? What if you had all the permissions? What if you had, you know, what if you had all the money? You know, if you had all of those limits satisfied, how much farther could you go? What would it feel like to embody, and just at least in your mind, get curious about what it is that you're aiming for and shooting for and working towards? You know, we can sometimes get caught and lost in the mountain climb, that we forget what the peak looks like, and we lose the lure of the shimmer of that mountaintop that started us on our trek to begin with. And so maybe use this time to re-inspire yourself and rekindle that beautiful creative imagination that you know, can expand the limitations, or kind of, you know, extend the work and the effort that you've been putting in so diligently yeah, just allow it to actually create that which you seek, and not just, you know, the drudgery, the grind, if you will. Yeah, get curious about what's on the other side of the grind, and then just marinate in that. You know, see how you feel. Seek that balance. Just get curious about the opposite energy, and see if you can find that levitation point. But anyway, just some thoughts. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon. Love you guys.